listening to the Terra Nova podcast, a podcast dedicated to the Fox television show Terra Nova. This is Season 1, Episode 1, What We Think We Know.
The eyes of the world are on Hope Plaza today, as the 10th pilgrimage prepares to depart for Terra Nova, bringing the total number of colonists to over 1,000.
Give me security.
Whatever happens, keep moving.
Sir, I need you to step out of line.
If we go in there, we can't come back.
We will be right behind you. I won't go without Dad. Go with your brother. He's dead. We'll find a way.
Citizens of 2149, together, we are at the dawn of a new civilization. Welcome to Terra Nova, folks. Welcome home.
Hello, I'm Al, and joining me is Jordan Pierce Owens. How you doing, Jordan?
Hey, how you doing, Al? What's up, everybody?
Doing good. Okay. This is our first podcast. This is just to get people ready for the podcast. This is a little information for the upcoming show Terra Nova. What do you know about Terra Nova so far?
I know it's going to be a kick-ass new TV show.
Have you done any research on it?
Well, this is my idea, Al. I mean, you're going to be the one that's stocked full of information, and I'm going to be the lazy co-host who just watches the TV show when it comes out. How's that sound? I
like that. Tell me a little bit about yourself for our new listeners.
Good. For anyone listening out there, this is Jordan Pierce Owens, a aspiring actor, comedian, producer, director, wrestler extraordinaire. We've tested out podcasts before. We're talking about doing one for a specific TV show. We decided with Terra Nova because it sounded very interesting, and hopefully it's one of those shows that gets a good run and gets a good 5-6 years at the very least, and we can really solve this mystery, and looking forward to doing it every week for you guys.
I'm excited as well. Did you know we actually have a air date? They announced it just recently.
Yeah, what's that date?
It starts Monday, 8 p.m., September 26th. So we have a countdown clock on our website, so you can go to our website and you can tell exactly how many months, weeks, days, minutes, seconds until it starts. And that's, of course, Eastern Standard Time. As we're recording this, Terra Nova premieres in 1 month, 4 weeks, 2 days, 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 37 seconds.
And I am excited.
Anybody that can do math can figure out when we recorded this. All right,
I don't think anyone's going to do that much trouble.
There might be one person out there, who knows.
They're like, you know what, I'm gonna do it.
What we're going to do now is talk a little bit about how viewers like us can make sure we get good ratings for Terra Nova so it stays on the air. As we know, it's on Fox television, which has a history of canceling their shows.
Firefly, you fucking bitches.
Firefly, yeah. I think we're all still bitter about Firefly. If you don't know about Firefly...
You know about Firefly. Get out of my show.
Right?
Dude, I'm just playing. Please don't turn up. I'm just playing. We don't want to lose anyone.
We need all 10 or 1,000 of you. How many there are? 1,000? Is that a number? Firefly is a perfect example. It's one of the best shows ever on television, and we only got 13 episodes, and we had to wait till the DVD came out to get 5 of those. But there are things that we can do. We've done some research, and we're going to let you know what you can do to help Terra Nova get the ratings and let them know that we are watching. Try to watch the show live if you can. If you're DVRing it or TiVoing the show, just watch it within 24 hours, because it's very important that those numbers come in right away, because that's what they really go by. And watch it again within the next 3 days, if you can. Repeat viewings do count. They don't care if one person watches it 3 times or 3 people watch it 1 time. They're all counted as views on DVRs, so they do count towards the numbers. If you happen to be a Nielsen family, remember to count everybody that's in the home. Every time they're watching it, watch it live.
Yeah. No, like you said, yeah, watch it, almost as soon as you can, repeated viewings. Because, guys, we want this to last longer than Jason Amar's last show, Life on Mars.
Jason Amar, yeah. Have you seen you've seen Life on Mars, right? The U.S. version?
Yeah, I started watching it. You know, I ended up having other things to do. But I liked it. I was kind of interested in, maybe where it goes.
Yeah, I'm interested too. I started, when we started putting this podcast together, I started watching the show. It's only like 13 episodes. I'm about halfway through. I'm pretty intrigued. I want to see what happens. Unfortunately, I was spoiled. The ending, I heard about the ending in a magazine, and I didn't want to hear about it, but now I know how it ends, but I'm still going to enjoy it, and hopefully in the next couple podcasts I'll be able to finish watching all of it. He seems like a good actor. He seems like he could really carry a show. I'm excited to see him in that. All right, normally this part of the show, what we would do is we're going to do an episode recap. There is no episode recap because no episodes have aired yet. Me and Jordan are not spoiled. We did not watch this episode yet. I don't even know if it's out there on the internet. We haven't watched it. We're going to watch it live with everybody else. So what we'll do now is just do a little about the show from the Fox website, fox.com/Terra Nova, the official explanation for the show, and I'll read that for you right now. From executive producer Steven Spielberg comes an epic family adventure 85 years in the making. Terra Nova follows an ordinary family on an incredible journey back in time to prehistoric Earth as a small part of a daring experiment to save the human race. In the year 2149, the world is dying. The planet is overdeveloped and overcrowded. With the majority of the planet and animal life extinct, the future of mankind is in doubt, and its only hope for survival is in the past. When scientists at the FERMI particle accelerator unexpectedly discover a fracture in time that made it possible to construct a portal into primeval history. The bold notion was born to resettle humanity in the past, a second chance to rebuild civilization and get it right this time. The series centers on the Shannon family as they join the 10th pilgrimage of settlers to Terra Nova, the first colony established in this beautiful yet forbidding land. Jim Shannon, played by Jason O'Mara, a devoted father with a checkered past, guides his family through this new world of limitless beauty, mystery, and terror. Jim's wife, Elizabeth Shannon, played by Shelley Kahn, is a trauma surgeon and the newest addition to Terra Nova's medical team. Josh Shannon, played by Landon LeBaron, is their 17-year-old son who is angry to leave life as he knows it behind. Upon arriving at the settlement, he finds himself instantly drawn to the beautiful and rule-breaking Sky, played by Allison Miller. Maddie Shannon, played by Naomi Scott, Josh's endearingly awkward 15-year-old sister, hopes Terra Nova will give her a new chance to reinvent herself. Although Elizabeth's medical training secured the family a spot in the pilgrimage, a secret involving their 5-year-old daughter Zoe, played by Alana Mansour, soon endangers their place in this utopia. Upon the Shannons' arrival, they are introduced to Commander Nathaniel Taylor, played by Stephen Lang, the charismatic and heroic first pioneer and leader of the settlement. Taylor, along with his right-hand man Guzman, played by Maido Hamada, warn the travelers that while Terra Nova is a place of new opportunities, fresh beginnings, all is not as idyllic as it initially appears. Along with blue skies, towering waterfalls, and lush vegetation, the surrounding terrain is teeming with danger, and not just of the man-eating dinosaur variety. There is also a splinter colony of renegades led by a battle-hardened Mira, played by Christine Adams, who is vehemently opposed to Taylor and his leadership. Even more threatening than what lies outside the protective walls of the colony is the chilling possibility that something sinister is happening inside Terra Nova. The Shannons will come to suspect that not everyone on this mission has the same idea of how best to save mankind. In fact, there may be forces intent on destroying this new world before it even begins.
That sounds exciting. I'm looking forward to it, and I know a lot of people are so far.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, from what I've seen, it's going to be good. So you don't know anything about what's coming up, which is pretty cool. I've done some research, and I'll let you know, along with the other listeners, what I found out. Like I read in the Fox article, the show follows the Shannon family, specifically Jim Shannon, which is played by Jason O'Mara, which we talked about. He's described as a former narcotics cop, estranged from his family, and escaped from prison and on the run. And the world is close to an end, and it's heavily overpopulated, and they find a wormhole in Chicago, and they're able to tweak it to where they can open it wider so people can get through, and they find out that it goes 85 million years in the past. They can't really change when or where it goes. That's where it goes, and it's not a steady wormhole. It's not something that people can just go through anytime they want. It's only specific times they can go through it. They pretty much know the human civilization is going to come to an end soon, and they're going to try to save humanity. I think what Brandon Braga said, one of the creators of the show, it's a lifeboat for humanity. It's like humanity's last chance at survival in the past, 85 million years in the past, which is the Cretaceous period, which dinosaurs and, you know, everything from Land of the Lost, the series, but better effects, I'm sure. When I first heard this idea, I said, wow, that's kind of original, but I've heard this before. Now, have you ever seen the Star Trek episode All Our Yesterdays? Where it's an original Star Trek episode, and they go to this planet that its sun is going supernova, and everybody tries to escape back in the past. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't heard about that.
That's the first thing I thought of when I heard about this premise, except there, everybody goes back to their own particular time they want to go, and not everybody at once to one specific time. Seems more like chaos than this. Stephen Lang from Avatar, he's going to play the big baddie in the first episode. I guess they get along later on better. The guy from Avatar plays the general. Have you seen the previews for that? You think he'll do good in that role?
Oh, yeah, no, I did see the preview off of our website. And, no, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I love Stephen Lang in Avatar, and I'm glad I'm going to be able to see more of him. That sounded weird, but you know what I mean. The not-too-distant future, and, of course, 85 million years ago. The whole show is going to be like that, kind of like Lost a little bit, where there's the future and the past, or... Yeah, I was about to say it sounded very much kind of like Lost, of jumping between the two worlds.
Yeah. Being that it's time travel, I wonder if things they do in the past affect and change the future as we're watching it, kind of, so that future storyline is a little bit in flux the whole time, and you kind of have to keep it all in your head to make sense of it. I'm hoping they treat us like an intelligent audience. I think they will. Shows lately are doing that. The other Fox show I want to mention is Fringe.
Yeah, sadly overlooked by the Emmys once again.
Yeah, they had Joshua Jackson announce the Emmys, and he didn't even get nominated. I was like, really?
You walked out, and the actor nominations are... What? Oscar this.
The girl that was announcing the nominations with him got nominated, but he didn't. Hopefully in the future. Fringe really treats their audience like they're smart and they can keep up, so hopefully this show will do the same thing. I think the Lost factor is every show nowadays, whether they want to or not, the networks say, Lost was a popular show, why don't you do something like Lost? That dual timeline might just be something to make the executives happy, but I think it'll be interesting. So... Okay, this is a weird question, Jordan. How do you think the series will end?
How do I think it will end?
Did you have any thoughts just from hearing the setup and premise of the show? Because I did, and I would like to get your opinion on that.
I say it ends with the world ending. No, I don't really know, man. Like I said, I saw like the 2-minute preview that we got on the website, and I've read the bio, and then that's about it. You know, and I'm waiting to kind of throw myself into the show and see where it goes. I really don't know. I don't even know what's going to happen in episode 1, let alone the end.
All right. Well, just simple things I was thinking of when I heard the premise, even before I did any research. There are 85 million years in the past, so no matter what they do to build a civilization, there's the extinction of the dinosaurs, what was that, 65 million years ago?
Uh-huh.
And that pretty much ended all life on Earth. So even if they do thrive and survive, then the Earth is like decimated at that point, so then it's over. But then that's what, 20 million years they can survive. So that's more than what they were given originally. Other things that popped through my head were like Atlantis, myths of old civilizations that were highly advanced and stuff like that. It'd be interesting to see where they're going to go with this. My one theory that I'm going to lock in a time capsule right now that's not going to go online until I'm either proven right or wrong at the end of the show is this. That's my guess. The reason I have that guess is because Brandon Braga is involved in it. He wrote a lot of Star Trek episodes, and he's got a really good head on him for time travel and cause and effect. All right, we're also going to have a part in our podcast where we talk about the science behind things that are happening in the episode, and also like dinosaurs and creatures and life back in the Cretaceous period. So that'll be exciting. All you dinophiles out there will like to tune in and maybe comment on that stuff. We're going to have thoughts and opinions of each episode. We're going to talk in depth about them after they happen when they're fresh in our minds. We're going to have feedback. We asked on our website a question of the week, the first official question of the week. We didn't get too many responses, but the ones we did get were interesting. Our question of the week for our first show is, what are you most looking forward to about Terra Nova? So before we go to our voicemail and email, I'm going to ask you, Jordan, what are you most looking forward to about Terra Nova?
Oh, God, I was hoping I wouldn't have to go first. I'm sure the other responses will sadly be more interesting because, I mean, you know, like I said, the trailer and the plot got me, so I'm just looking forward to, I mean, can I cop out and say everything? Like,
yes.
I'm looking forward to the twists and turns, and I've always liked time travel, so I'm just looking forward to the show itself and seeing where it takes me, and hopefully it surprises me.
I'm looking forward to the time travel. Brandon Braga said in one of the interviews, I think it was at a comic book convention, not Comic-Con, but one before that, that the time travel isn't a real big factor in the show as a whole. It's more like the plane, like I'm paraphrasing here, but it's more like the plane from Lost, to where it's how they got on the island, but it's not what the show's about.
Yeah.
But of course, everything they do in the past is going to affect the future. You know, you step on a butterfly and then, what, it rains donuts? Is that it?
Well, you step on a butterfly and that butterfly doesn't exist. And now we got some Terra Nova news with Heather.
News. I'm Heather, and this is the Terra Nova News. The official Terra Nova website is counting down to the launch of Terra Nova with new scripted prequel content till the show premieres. The videos run only a few minutes, and it's not necessary to watch these to enjoy Terra Nova, but can only enhance your viewing enjoyment. This may also be a way to get your family and friends excited to watch the premiere of Terra Nova on Fox September 26th. Enter for a chance to win a National Geographic adventure to Australia. Grand prize for two is an 11-day National Geographic adventure that includes hiking and canoeing in the Northern Territory and snorkeling on the Great Barrier Reef. Round-trip airfare to and from Australia, hotel accommodations, meals, and activities. To enter the contest, go to fox.com/terranova/sweepstakes. According to tvguide.com, here are the 6 things you need to know about Terra Nova. Number 1. Viewers will be seeing dinosaurs pretty quickly into the first episode, and without giving much away, expect to see both the friendly type and the, more bloodthirsty variety. Co-executive producer Jose Molina says, "It's a dinosaur show. You will see dinosaurs. We're an expensive show, and you're going to see that money on screen. It's going to look badass." Number 2. All things considered, the hungry dinos are pretty darn ferocious. Getting Terra Nova on the air has been a long process for Fox, one that has included several delays, mostly due to perfecting the look and movement of those prehistoric lizards. Producers said the show's visual effects supervisor, Kevin Blank, has now created a system to get good-looking dinos on the air on a weekly basis. Executive producer Renee Echevarria says, "It's a challenge, and I think we're getting better as we go along." Number 3. Jose Molina says something you might not realize from watching the pilot is that all of our dinosaurs are from the Cretaceous period, so they're all herbivores. Kidding. Of course, we like to kill people. You're going to see some pretty cool dino-on-man action. Epic dino-on-man action. Braga added, "Will satisfy your bloodlust." The Comic-Con panel seemed to be pretty serious on this point. Co-star Stephen Lang says, "I figure there will be a mandate from the network, 1 eating per week." Number 4. It is yet to be determined if Stephen Lang will be playing a good guy. For now, he's nothing like Avatar's Colonel Miles Quaritch. As Terra Nova's Frank Taylor, he's leading the charge to build a new hope for humanity, back in the past, a time long before mankind has overpolluted the planet. But his intentions may be more complicated. Lang says he's something of an enigmatic figure, and that's quite intentional. Number 5. The Sixers. They're a renegade group of humans that continue to try and infiltrate Taylor's camp, or as Echevarria says, they're kind of our bad guys. In the beginning, that simply means they have a different agenda than Frank about his building this colony. That's all I'm going to say for now. Number 6. Terra Nova is not so unlike Star Trek. Executive producers Echevarria and Brandon Braga met while working on Star Trek The Next Generation. Echevarria says, "I like to say this is a show Gene Roddenberry would have liked." Braga added, "It has dinosaurs, yes, but it's largely about second chances and exploring humanity's new hope, but also the baggage they carry with them. That's very Star Trek." Spielberg's Terra Nova will have no T-Rex. 85 million years ago was chosen because it's notable as being the era with the least amount of fossil findings, which means it's the time period where we only know about 10% of the dinosaurs that existed. So what does that mean? Well, no T-Rexes for one, they're Jurassic. But this new world allowed the producers, with the expert help of Spielberg's dino expert Jack Horner, to create new dinosaurs based on what we think might have existed back then. Terra Nova premieres Monday, September 26th at 8/7 Central on Fox. That's all for this time. Check out TerraNovaPodcast.com for more. I'm Heather, and remember, a family is 4.
Also in our podcast, we'll be running interviews that we do, hopefully, with people either involved with the show or just enthusiasts of the show, and also audio clips from different media we can find. At this point, I want to play, for our listeners, audio from WonderCon 2011. It's got a whole bunch of people from Terra Nova, and some interesting questions are asked, so I'd like to play that now. It runs about 23 minutes, so here it is, the Terra Nova panel from WonderCon 2011.
Thanks for coming, everyone. Welcome to the Terra Nova panel. A couple months ago, Terra Nova was one of the most eagerly anticipated new shows of the TV season. Today, this epic sci-fi adventure is one of the most eagerly anticipated shows of the next TV season. The cast of Terra Nova includes Jason O'Mara of Life on Mars, Stephen Lang of Avatar. Behind the camera, the Terra Nova team includes executive producer Brandon Braga and producer-director Alex Graves. They're here today to talk about the show, to take your questions, being with Jason O'Mara. Our next member of our panel, his name is Stephen Lang, but you can call him Slang. Stephen Lang or Slang. Executive producer Brandon Braga. And producer-director Alex Graves. All right. Thanks for coming, guys. I'd love to talk a little bit about the world and characters of Terra Nova. And we could start. This is a show that kind of like toggles between the future and the past. And Brandon, if you could talk a little bit about sort of like what the premise is, like as we find our characters in the future. What's going on in the future, and why do they have to time travel?
Well, it's basically a TV show unlike any other that I've been involved with, in that it takes place in the distant future and the distant past, but not the present, and intercuts between the two, which is not only really cool from a kind of a storytelling point of view, but incredibly ambitious to make, because we can't use anything from now, basically. The premise is it's a dystopian future that has been destroyed by humanity. No plant life, no animal life, terrible pollution. The causes of it are unclear, but it's a bad place. And a fracture in time has been accidentally discovered at a super collider outside Chicago. And although at first it's just an anomaly and a curiosity, the people in this terrible time realize that it's possibly a escape hatch for humanity, and they find a way using this super collider technology to gradually pull the time fracture wider and wider and start sending people through. The first guy through the portal is his character, Commander Taylor, as kind of the Neil Armstrong of the project, and he establishes Plymouth Rock 85 million years in the past in the Cretaceous era. Doesn't realize that's where it goes. They don't know why it goes there. Not the best place to resettle humanity. A lot of hostile things back there, but that's where it all begins. And they eventually start getting the portal open to send more people through, more colonists through. But they also realize it's a one-way trip. There's no going back if you go through, if you're selected to go through, or are lucky enough to win the lottery to go through. And the show basically follows the Shannon family, the father of whom is played by Jason O'Mara, and it follows their journey from their point of view from the future into the past to what we're calling kind of a postmodern sci-fi western, and that's a long-winded way of explaining the show.
And 140 characters or less, how would you explain it?
I'm sorry. Don't ask me any more questions.
And Alex, if you could talk a little bit about, just to elaborate on that a little bit, like what's going on in the future that we have to evacuate the future and head to the past, and what's the past world like?
Sure. Well, 2149 in this story is a very dystopian future, very sort of Blade Runner-esque. It's overpolluted, it's overpopulated. It's sort of an extreme version of certain situations we're facing today, and it's one of the things that makes the show so contemporary to me is that it's people who are faced with really major potential disasters have to make a choice to start over or not. And our characters leave this, sort of collision of poverty and high technology, and go back to a past where they're now in new Earth, young Earth, with extremely high technology and dangers that they could never have imagined or would never have faced in the future.
Stephen, if you could talk a little bit about your character, who is he and what is he about, and how is he similar or different from the character you played in Avatar?
As Brandon pointed out, Commander Nathaniel Taylor is the first one through this wormhole. He likened him to Neil Armstrong. I think of him a little more as a Daniel Boone type in a way, that he is primarily a survivalist. He's somebody who knows how to cope with and is not afraid of highly precarious situations. And I think he's heavy on ingenuity and inventiveness. I think he's also he's a dynamic leader as well. So he has been. His history is such, it's a military history. I think he's probably got a background. Well, I know he has a background in engineering as well. He's not a scientist per se. He is, just to deal with the Avatar comparison really quickly, he's got a military background. Yeah, he has a speech where he welcomes people to the planet, which is written into all of my contracts now. I always do a welcoming speech.
Can you say welcome to WonderCon for us?
Please, come on.
Yeah, big speech.
Hello, people. You are not in San Diego. You are in the great city of San Francisco. Respect that fact every second of every day. Thank you. Don't get me started. Out there beyond that fence. Anyway. That's the main difference, is that in Avatar, Colonel Quaritch talks like this, but Nathaniel Taylor doesn't talk like that. He's more like this. But truthfully, Taylor is truly heroic in stature. He's an idealist. He is doing everything he can to bring about the creation of a second chance civilization, which is quite different, of course, than the Avatar situation.
Jason, you are time traveling once again. I'm sorry. It's okay. I only do shows that involve time travel as part of the premise, so it's in your contract. That's right. You play a character named Jim Shannon, and what's he about, and what's going on in his life when we first meet him in the show?
I'd love to answer those things. First of all, I just want to say this is so cool to be up here. I'm just so happy. Last time I was in San Francisco, I had my 21st birthday, and I was selling T-shirts down at Pier 39, and then I painted apartments so I could pay the rent. So to be here, promoting a big primetime Fox show, executive produced by Steven Spielberg with dinosaurs in it, is just awesome. So now I can answer your question. Well, Jim Shannon, he's an ex-cop, and when we first meet him, he's escaping from jail in order to meet up with his family, who have already been handpicked to go through the time portal and join the colony. So essentially, he sort of embodies the second chance that we've been talking about, the chance to start over. He's pretty much estranged from his wife, and one of his kids barely knows him. The other kid is kind of angry that he hasn't been around. So he's got a lot going on, you know. So when he gets there and realizes that he's going to have to somehow be reprimanded for coming through uninvited, and then figure out how this sort of relationship's going to play out, and figure out how his family's going to play out, that's kind of what he's got. So he's a fish out of water, as we pretty much all are here, looking to Taylor for guidance, but how that guidance is going to be provided for him is going to be one of the big questions.
And what is the relationship like between your characters? Is it antagonistic? Are you like rivals, or like how can you characterize?
Not initially. I mean, you know, essentially, I become the deputy to the sheriff. But by the end of episode 2, there are the characters in the story are put on a certain path that promises conflict of some kind. We don't know what that is yet.
Yes, I think that in Shannon, Taylor recognizes a very strong potential leader figure, which is both very, very welcome to Taylor, but at the same time threatening to him. And so, and just for the sake of future story, I don't say this is necessarily how it works out, but I think it's important to recognize that if there is to be a falling out between these characters, it's extremely helpful to have them come together. You know, you need to fall away from something. So I think he enters the scenario with a shadow on him because he doesn't come in the proper way. He doesn't come, you know, according to the way it should be done, and that offends my sense of the way things should happen. But right away, I recognize him as a very, very important figure and a potential ally, or as a potential threat, somebody to be reckoned with. That's the important thing.
Brandon, a question for you about the time travel. Is this one of those time travel shows where by going back to the past, we're going to like mess with the timeline and then change the future? Are we dealing with paradoxes, or are we sending people far enough into the past where that's not going to be an issue?
Well, this is the most commonly asked question we're getting about the show so far, which is ironic because it's this smallest component of the show, and that once the time travel happens, it's a one-way trip. People are there, they're trapped there, they ain't never going home. But there are things going on in the future, some mysterious happenings I don't want to give away, where we will be intercutting to some degree. What's the plan? Is it the butterfly effect? Are they going to try to change the future? I don't want to give that. Those questions will be answered very early on, but we're trying something a little different with the time travel that will make perfect sense, hopefully. So I don't want to give it away just yet. But there is a plan, and it does involve some paradoxical stuff, but it's kind of new and cool. I'm hoping people will tune in to find out what that is.
What are the origins of the show? Like, how did it get started? Like, why did you want to be part of it? And what's your collaboration been like with Steven Spielberg?
Well, the show a script was written by writers named British woman named Kelly Marcel and a guy named Craig Silverstein in Hollywood. And the script had been sold to Fox Network, and they needed someone to come in and help develop it into a series and turn it into from a 1 hour into a 2 hour, and put a team together. The first part of that team being Alex, our wonderful director. And what appealed to me about it is what I said before. I do love time travel, but the mechanics of the time travel aside, which is not what the show's about, I just love the idea of a show set in 2 different time periods, neither of which are our own. It gives us not only a great visual look in terms of futuristic technology in a primeval setting, but futuristic characters trying to survive in a primeval setting. And I guess the Steven Spielberg thing didn't hurt. I would have been insane to say no. In fact, I was told by Fox, you know, we need you to take a meeting with Steven Spielberg and tell him what your take on the show would be, which was horrifically nerve-wracking. In fact, I remember sitting in the anteroom to his office where the sled from Citizen Kane Rosebud sat in a frame, like the actual sled. And I was just like, I was thinking, I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown. But he's the nicest. Alex can attest. He's the nicest guy in the world. He's a genius. So much of this show came from his brain. All the wonderful details you'll see in the show that make it seem like it could really happen. That's all Spielberg, and he's been a delight to work with.
I was going to say I had the same meeting, but the sled from Citizen Kane did not help. You just go, oh my God.
What was your meeting with Steven like, and what kind of input has he given you in bringing the world to life?
Well, my first meeting with him was just actually meeting Steven Spielberg and talking for like 45 minutes about the project and him deciding to hire me. And then I had to go back and show him on my laptop like what I was going to do, all the art, you know, the design and everything. And, you know, going up to see Spielberg with your dinosaurs and your vehicles and your weapons and your everything that you've been working on for weeks is just a sickening thing to have to do as a director, because you just it's like going to God with your, you know, your work. And he was great. You know, it's fascinating. He riffs with ideas like comedians do with jokes. And he's reactive and helpful and supportive and very, you know, just what you would hope. And it was a blast.
And did you guys get to meet him as part of this?
Yeah, we did. We went for burgers, and then we watched his whole back catalogue of films together in my living room. It was fantastic. Awesome. No, I didn't. But I am available if he would like to do that.
Do you feel like you got ripped off in this deal or something? Like,
yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
You guys shot in Australia. You shot the pilot in Australia. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, did you guys go off into the jungles of Australia and shoot this, and what kind of stories?
Well, it's great pleasure shooting in Australia. For one thing, they like us over there. And we've all shot in places where they don't like us very much, so it's good to be there. But they have a long and storied history in terms of making films there. So the crews you get there are just really cherry. The environment itself is very, very beautiful, which is the main reason we go there in the first place. Where we are in the Gold Coast, we're in proximity to all kinds of a number of different self-contained ecosystems, which lend themselves very beautifully to this sort of primal world that we're inhabiting. It's a long ways away, which is, you know, it's kind of good and bad. I mean, it's hard to go away from home, but then again, that does contribute to the whole sense of what we're doing with the show, in a way, doesn't it? So I think that's to the good, and it's a very, 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 very livable place, seems to me. Yeah.
Did Alex? Can you talk a little bit about, from your perspective of shooting? Was the environment friendly, conducive to that? Was it provide some challenges?
It was both. I mean, I'll start with the positive. I mean, we had a fantastic Australian crew, and we're just crazy about the Australians, just to second that. And then, you know, one of the high points for me was I'd been down there for months, and the cast got down there about a couple of days before we started shooting, and every day on Terra Nova, instead of coming to stage 12 on the lot to shoot your scene, like I even would videotape them sometimes, the cast being driven into this incredible environment, and they'd get out, you know, and just be like, I'm in the show, like I'm in the Cretaceous period. And I just got such a kick out of that, because it was like you were on location in Terra Nova filming the show, and you just don't get that very much in television.
We built the town.
Yeah, I mean, we built Terra Nova in the middle of this valley in Australia, and then, you know, the Gold Coast is surrounded by a lot of these national parks and rainforests, and, you know, the downside is that, you know, in the middle of rehearsal, I would take a leech off of an actress's foot, or we would have so much rain that there would be a flood, and we would have to build a bridge to get back to Terra Nova, or little things like that. But it was an adventure, and it was a great bonding experience. It really made us all a family, and that was really good for the show.
And then it rained.
And rained.
And then rained some more.
It rained some more. And we thought we had seen all the really bad rain during, of course, totally narcissistically going, oh, it rained while we were filming, poor us. And then we left, and then the real rains hit, and they had the inland tsunamis over Christmas and everything. So we actually got off lucky.
This is going to be the last question from me, and then I'm going to open up the floor to you guys. The show, the premiere was originally supposed to be broadcast here in the spring, and recently it was decided to move it to the fall. Brandon, can you talk a little bit about that decision? Like, why did you guys ultimately decide to launch the show in the fall instead of this season?
Well, we were hoping to have a sneak peek or preview of the first couple of episodes in May, and the bottom line is we're not confident we were going to have the visual effects done in time, well enough in time. There are hundreds and hundreds of visual effects shots. I don't know where it ranks in the history of television pilots, but if it's not up there, it certainly it might even take the cake. And we just couldn't make it in time. And we will in plenty of time for September, but it's an overwhelming amount of work. And it's really boils down to that.
It also goes into an interesting story behind Terra Nova, which is that, initially the show had to push because we had to decide and commit to Australia. Then we knew it was going to take 12 weeks to build Terra Nova, which was like they were literally finishing building it when we finally started shooting 12 weeks later. And then to do the visual effects that we're doing, whether it be the creature effects or some of the more futuristic effects, we're doing them in television and trying to set up a dynamic where they can be done in series, and there was a lot of R&D involved in that. And really when we got back, we wrapped, I think, December 18th or 19th, and we came back, and early January it was like, I don't see how we're going to be done with all of these effects by that time, and it was just a logical choice. Let alone the dinosaurs. We're doing feathered dinosaurs. Dinosaurs with feathers, they're not doing that in features.
And our visual effects supervisor, Kevin Blank, who comes out of the J.J. Abrams camp and has done wonderful work for him, and he and his team have invented a new technology to do our dinosaurs, and that they're doing motion capture dinosaurs, which have only been done with people before. So it looks kind of funny to watch guys in dinosaur suits walking around in front of a green screen, but it makes the animation more efficient and expedient. But it's a new technology that's never been used, so things didn't quite go as quickly as we'd hoped.
All right, let's open it up to you guys. We don't have a lot of time, but let's do that. Where is the microphone?
Right here.
Right here? Okay, so we're right in the middle here, you guys.
Hi. I have a question for the writer of the show, Brandon Braga.
Correct.
You
can call me Brandon.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys. Regarding the premise of Terra Nova, have you got an idea? Where do you get the ideas for Terra Nova? Because it sounds like part of the premise for Terra Nova sounds like it's been looked out of this one video game you probably never heard of called Dino Crisis 2. And I was wondering if you guys got any ideas from any video games and stuff from making Terra Nova.
Well, there's a great Pong sequence in the pilot. Because that's about where I am in video games. Our inspiration, no, not really. That'd be a good question for our visual effects supervisor, whether or not he's seen something in video games that maybe inspired him visually. I don't know. Maybe Alex can answer that question. It's pretty much original material.
Yeah, there was nothing in the material inspired by video games. Because I have kids in my life, I was visually influenced by some video games for the world on the Cretaceous period side, in terms of Halo and even things like Appleseed and things like that. But the material was the material. It was really just a great idea.
All right, thanks for the question. Next question.
All right, this one's for Steven. What's it like to be both in a very groundbreaking movie, Avatar, and a very groundbreaking television show? And also, are you going to be receiving any facial scars this time around?
Well, it's thrilling to be, I love the idea of rolling the dice in a big way. Certainly with Avatar, it was taking a big shot. There was a lot invested in it, and it did well. And certainly when this script came to me, it was very clear when I read it that the scope of this project was quite vast. The idea of doing something of this magnitude on a weekly basis was very exciting. I knew it would be very challenging for all of us, for everyone involved. And I just want to be part of that because, you know, life is short. You might as well try and do big things, be part of big things if you can. And in terms of, so that's my reasoning there, I think. And in terms of scarring in this, you know, presumably we have a long future ahead of us, and I'm just a blank canvas waiting to be ripped apart.
Youngest person on the set, and why did you pick them?
Can you say the first part of that again? Yeah. Can you say the first?
Who was the youngest person on? Who is the youngest person on the set, and why did you pick them?
All right, we got it.
Alana, who plays my daughter Zoe, how old are you?
9.
Yeah, she's your age. No, she's 8. And at 8, she was able to follow along with the read-through. She learned all her lines. She always stood on her marks and never fluffed one line. Can you believe it? Wow. She's awesome. You get to see her.
Wow.
That is it. All right, next question.
That's a tough act to follow, I tell you.
That's why they say no kids, no animals. Dinosaurs, even.
Both of which we have, yeah.
Do the characters grow more Earth-friendly to their environment, being that they came from an environment that had been destroyed?
Well, they arrive that way, really. I mean, because of the example that Commander Taylor has set as the first person there, the whole thing has been designed to care for the planet, take care of the planet, live off of it. You know, everything's solar powered. They're recycling everything. Everything's built from recycled materials that are shipped through the portal in the rare portal openings. And then the weapons against the dinosaurs are sonic. They're trying not to kill anything, and because Taylor's mission is very much to protect Earth and to make sure everybody else is, and that's actually a very solid part of the story.
And the themes about getting things right this time, because we messed up the first time. This is a second chance for humanity, not only to do things right pragmatically, but on a more philosophical, humanistic level, trying to leave the aspects of humanity behind that led to the destruction of the earth, greed, ignorance, things like that.
Which makes things even tougher than they would be were you just there in order to conquer the environment. There you have a very clear task. If it moves, kill it. Here, that's not the concept. It's actually much more complex in a way. Go ahead.
Hi, this is for Jason. I really love you in Life on Mars. I thought it was really great. Especially the finale. I think they did a great job, but I wanted you to contrast that experience with your work in Terra Nova. I mean, it's a real different part, but you have to do pretend 70s, and I have to do pretend. And did you work in the Daintree?
Sorry?
Did you work also in the Daintree rainforest when you guys were up in Australia?
No, the Daintree.
Okay.
Well, obviously the main difference between the two characters is Sam Tyler is thrust into this situation that he finds himself, and he's desperately trying to find a way back home, whereas Jim Shannon is desperately trying to get to this situation, and is basically just trying to stay alive and negotiate this new place. So right there is a huge difference in character and what they both want and need. But there's still a sense of being completely overwhelmed by your new environment. So I had been down that path before, but there isn't the same level of confusion and frustration. I think the confusion and frustration comes from a slightly a deeper emotional level, because what Jim Shannon wants is really for his family to thrive in this new world. And obviously there wasn't much talk of that kind of thing in Life on Mars. It was about Sam really trying to grapple with his own demons, you know. And by the way, if you ever have a few hours to kill, you can just go onto any comments board on the internet and discuss whether Life on Mars US was better than BBC or the other way around. Great way to get some. It goes on and on and on.
We have time for one more question, so make it a good one.
Hi, this question's for Brandon. Just curious as to how much of the season is in the can, how many episodes have been shot, and if you have plans to go back to Australia to continue shooting.
Well, yeah, we're filming the series in Australia. We resumed filming in late May, early June. We are currently in the process of writing the stories and scripts for the first season, and we have a good plan. This is not the type of show you want to wing it with, and we're very, very excited. We're very excited, and I'm sure they're eager to see some scripts, and I probably should get back home and get to work. Thank you.
I just want to say, I just tweeted for the first time, and I tweeted a picture of you guys because you're awesome. So please follow me on Twitter, and I'll try to keep you updated over the next few months from Australia, and I'll give you what news that Fox will let me release. Thanks a lot.
One more time for Terra Nova.
All right, that was pretty cool, actually. Some good stuff I didn't know.
Very, very informative. On our website, there are links to videos, so if you really want to do some research and get in-depth, check out our website. Our website is, of course, terranovapodcast.com.
Ooh, yeah.
Go on the website, look at what we got, make some comments, send us some feedback, and we can play your feedback on the show.
Voicemail.
Hi, this is Johnny Jr., and I'm here with my girl, Brooklyn Bear. She doesn't actually talk much because she's a real bear. Anyway, we're really looking forward to Terra Nova. First of all, Steven Spielberg is one of our favorites. He's done at least 4 of my top 5 favorite movies like Jaws, Jurassic Park, and Back to the Future. Secondly, I actually met Steven Spielberg when I worked at Universal Studios in 1989. That was pretty cool. Terra Nova seems a little like Jurassic Park, maybe a little Back to the Future, with the adventures of Indiana Jones. Could be his best work yet. We're very excited. Should be a fun ride. See you in the future. Boop.
All right, there's a part on the website that we put up. It's called Find the 47. People, writers that are involved in Terra Nova, in their past shows, they've put the number 47 in hidden places. That while you're watching the episode, if you find the 47, it's kind of exciting. So we're taking a gamble that they're going to do it again, and that they're going to put a 47 somewhere in each episode. So it's going to be a fun game to play, like Find the 47. We're going to have a little comment board on there where you could post, and the first person that posted will get mentioned on each podcast. If nobody else does, I'm sure me or Jordan will. Have you ever seen the number 47 in TV shows appear everywhere?
No, I don't even know what shows they'd be in. What shows could they be in?
Every episode of Star Trek, from Next Generation till the end of Enterprise, there's a 47. There's a lot of shows that do the same thing. Fringe has a 47 in every episode. The Dead Zone had a 47 in every episode. Yeah, it's actually ridiculous. Once you're on the lookout for the number 47 when you're watching television, you'll just be amazed at how many times they'll use the number 47. Sometimes it's not in the dialogue. Sometimes it's in the, set design or something. It might be in a newspaper. It might be on a wall. It might be the number of a ambulance. It might be... one of my favorites was watching The Dead Zone, and there was a mining car, and it had just a big 47 painted on the side.
Hey, that's a good show.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I watched that show in its entirety in about 3 months, and that's after I knew about the 47 thing, so, every episode I noticed it, so...
cool.
They do it in some of the Whedonverse stuff, but not every one of them. There's a whole bunch of stuff about 47 that you can research online if you just Google it. Every week, hopefully, we'll find a 47 and talk about why it's there and if it was there on purpose or just happened to be there. You can send us email to terranovapodcast@gmail.com, and it might get read on the show. We prefer to hear your voice, so if possible, please record an MP3 and send it to us. If you don't have access to a microphone or just like to leave us a voicemail, you can do so by calling 707-847-NOVA. That's 707-847-6682. If you make a mistake, just keep going and we'll edit the mistakes out before they air. So don't worry if you mess up, just keep talking. All right.
Very fan-friendly show, so we really do look forward to hearing what you got to say. And you'll be part of the show.
Yes, the show might get very boring if it's just me and Jordan and
Hey,
the
what's
news
that
lady.
supposed to mean?
Well, I'll enjoy it because I'm your biggest fan. But,
Yeah, we'll big fans of each other.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. At least we'll have 2 listeners, you and me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Go on the website, leave comments, send emails, leave us voicemails, anything you can think of, anything you want. We got slim pickings right now, so because the show hasn't actually started yet, so pretty much anything you leave us now we'll probably get in the next show. There's a forum, so be sure to go to our forums all the time and do what people do on forums. And we're hoping to have one more show before we go on the air. It depends on how much more they release before the show airs. I know there's a Comic-Con panel, so we're going to try to get that. I think that was a good first show, a little introduction of what we're going to be doing. And, of course, after the episodes air, it'll be a little bit better because we'll have more to talk about. So it starts Monday night, August 26th, 8 p.m., 2011.
8 p.m.?
8 p.m.
Okay, good, so we can still see Raw. Yeah.
So what are you going to do? What if it's a 2-hour premiere? What are you going to do? You got TiVo?
No, I'll just probably watch Terra Nova.
We actually have a responsibility to watch it now.
I know, that's what I mean, man. That's why it goes first.
All right, so subscribe to our Twitter, subscribe to our Facebook, come back to terranovapodcast.com as often as you can. Watch Terra Nova, that's an important one. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks everyone for listening. Good night.
Thank you for joining us for this installment of the Terra Nova Podcast. Go to terranovapodcast.com each week to listen to new installments of the Terra Nova Podcast. The Terra Nova Podcast is not affiliated with 20th Century Fox Television, Churnin Entertainment, DreamWorks Television, and Capitol Entertainment. While at terranovapodcast.com, be sure to join our forums where you can discuss Terra Nova with other listeners. You can also follow the Terra Nova Podcast on Facebook and Twitter, where we post announcements about our show and all things Terra Nova. Links to our social media pages are at terranovapodcast.com. Support from listeners like you help keep the Terra Nova Podcast operating. You can find a link to donate using PayPal at the bottom of our website. You can also show your love of the Terra Nova Podcast by shopping in our store, where you can buy t-shirts, coffee mugs, mouse pads, and much more. The link is available on our homepage. The Terra Nova Podcast is edited by Albie. The Terra Nova universe and all that it contains is property of 20th Century Fox Television, Churnin Entertainment, DreamWorks Television, and Capitol Entertainment. No infringement is intended. The Terra Nova Podcast is a Barren Space production, all rights reserved.